Hello, hello, hello. As you can tell by the title of this video, that this is about my personal thoughts and feelings of BJ Penn. In no way is this a bash of BJ Penn. So all you BJ Penn lovers, put your guns away, put your torches away, and don't lynch me. Uh, it's my personal thoughts of him. I'll give him credit right now. I think he's one of the greatest guy. I mean, one of the most well-rounded, most talented, physically gifted athletes to ever grace the octagon. Should ever grace any ring. Uh, you know, you could put him in a ring against any of the best, doesn't matter what weight class, and he'll look decent, if not great, with it. I mean, I'll even be the first to tell you he's got a great left jab. He's a great counterpuncher with that left jab. Everything, great ground game. Probably one of the best ground games in the. I mean, outside of Shinya Aoki, which a lot of people argue with me that he's better than Shinya Aoki, which it's possible. It's extremely possible with the ground and pound that he's got. It's extremely possible. But that's neither here nor there. I do think he would beat Aoki, believe it or not. I'm extremely biased with Aoki, and I think he would beat Shinya Aoki, but I think it'd be a close match. That said, let's get into the conversation, shall we? Because I think BJ Penn is probably the most baby fighter ever. I mean, even more so than Pride was with Gomi. And Gomi was highly protected. Even more so than Pride was with Crow Cop during that openweight Grand Prix. I mean, this is ridiculous. I'm getting sick and tired of hearing about BJ Penn. I'm tired of his fans sitting there saying that it's okay for him to have these not title shots that are being just handed to him. You know, UFC does these things sometimes, and sometimes it's necessary. Like when Randy went up to came down from heavyweight and automatically got a shot at the interim light heavyweight title with Chuck Liddell. It's understandable, and I can't really give that much crap because at the time Vitor had just come down, and several people had Tito wasn't in town. Or Tito wasn't in town. Tito was having contract disputes, so that's whatever. And then Randy goes up to back up to heavyweight, and automatically gets a title shot. Once again, that's understandable, seeing that mainly, you know, there was nobody else in heavyweight for Tim Sylvia. I mean, there was nobody yet ready. So they had to give him somebody, and Randy was a big name that people wanted to see. So give him Randy. Plus, I think they gave Tim Sylvia Randy to try to get Randy over, or try to get Tim over on the people. Say, hey, Tim Sylvia just beat Randy Couture, one of the most respected guys. He's got to have some kind of skill. Because a lot of people were saying, Randy, that Tim was just a joke, that he shouldn't have the title. Who the hell is he beating besides Arlovsky? Um, but for some reason, BJ, it's been ridiculous with BJ and on how the guy in his last before his last fight where he won the title yesterday, the guy was 2-3 on his last three fights, and two of those fights were for one of them was for a title, and the other one was for a number one contendership, and he lost both of those. The other one, I guess, was for a number one contendership because he got a title shot right after that. It's like, what the hell, man? What the hell has he done within the last couple of years to really to earn this? And I'm gonna go back to let's see, let's go back to his early days. I mean, back to 2001, 2002 time period. Uh, he came out of nowhere. He had three great wins in 2001. Joey Gilbert, Dean Thomas, and Cal Uno. Cal Uno was the 11-second knockout. Dean Thomas was the first round knee that just smashed him. Joey Gilbert was the first round just ass kicking. So yeah, everybody was like, man, this guy's for real. I mean, he'd already won the black belt Mundials, world championship. And Americans aren't supposed to do that, whatever. Then he goes to fight Jens Pulver and he loses a decision. Okay, so then they have a tournament. He beats Matt Serra by decision because he couldn't finish Matt Serra. Matt Serra is damn near impossible to finish. And then he draws with Cal Uno with another title shot. Okay, he might have earned that. That's fine. Up until that point, BJ Penn was everything people said it was. And then he leaves the UFC and he goes to fight Gomi, who at the time Gomi was not the Gomi he is today. Which I'm not saying that skill wise he wasn't. I mean name wise he wasn't the Gomi he is today. He was a big name already, but he wasn't a huge name. So he goes to fight Gomi and he destroys Gomi. I mean, he just beats the living dog crap out of Gomi. That's fine. That's fine. Great win, but it wasn't in the UFC. It was in oh god, Rumble on the Rock. There we go. Rumble on the Rock. Uh, Great win for BJ Penn. Then he comes back and all of a sudden is fighting Matt Hughes for the title. What the hell is number one? What the hell has he done at welterweight in the UFC to get a title shot? What the hell has he done in the UFC outside of draw and beat Sarah at lightweight? If this was for the lightweight title, you would not hear me say anything at this point. But it was for the welterweight title. But one thing leads to another, and he dominates Matt Hughes and he beats Matt Hughes, and everybody's like, okay, maybe he did deserve it. That's fine. Okay, whatever. And then he has that big contract disputes, and he leaves. He leaves UFC and he goes to fight Dwayne Ludwig, Rodrigo Gracie, Lyoto Machida, and Henzo Gracie, and he beats them all except Lyoto. He loses by unanimous decision, which is not surprising seeing Lyoto was fighting at, I think they're fighting at heavyweight at that time. Uh, then he comes back to the UFC and he's wearing the Champ is Here t-shirt. He comes to the ring to fight George St. Pierre, who George St. Pierre had already won like 3 amazing matches and it was supposed to be the number one contender. They promised him the number one contender spot. They basically said, you're the number one contender now. And all of a sudden, now that, BJ's back, he's not the number one contender anymore. Okay, whatever. He fights George St. Pierre. He gasses against George St. Pierre. George St. Pierre gets the split decision. That's fine. He loses. A loss is a loss. I don't care what people say, how good he looked in that match and how bad he made everybody else lose. Because to be honest, if looking good in a match meant titles, Guy Mezger would be a title holder right now. Because Guy Mezger made everybody look bad in his matches. He made Vanderlei look bad, and Vanderlei was in his prime. He made Chuck look bad, and Chuck was in his prime. He made Tito look bad when Tito was in his prime. It's just Guy Mezger's got a weak chin, and he cuts a little easy, unfortunately. So George St. Pierre beats him. George St. Pierre is finally getting the title shot. George St. Pierre hurts himself. So who does Matt Hughes fight? Instead of waiting like they do now, like when Matt Serra, not Matt Serra, when George St. Pierre got hurt to fight Matt Serra, instead of just waiting, they have him fight Matt Hughes, which is the fight they wanted to begin with. That's what they wanted. They wanted a Matt Hughes BJ Penn 2 fight. They didn't want a George St. Pierre fight yet. They wanted a Matt Hughes BJ Penn fight. One thing leads to another. Matt Hughes, he hurts his ribs. Matt Hughes beats him. That's it. Doesn't matter how good he looked against Matt Hughes. Doesn't matter how he exposed Matt Hughes. He lost. A loss is a loss on the record. 20 years from now, it's just going to be BJ Penn lost. Okay, so he says he's going to drop down to 155 where he's extremely good. Everybody's like, oh yeah, BJ's going to fight at 155. That's fine. Like I said, the guy's got skills out the ass. He fights Jens Pulver. He beats Jens Pulver, which he should have beaten Jens Pulver. He beats him in the second round, 3 minutes into the second round. After Jens Pulver just got annihilated by Joe Lauzon beforehand. I mean, Joe Lauzon knocked him out in the first round. BJ Penn beat him in the second round, deep into the second round. Okay, whatever. BJ Penn automatically gets a title shot. I don't understand where this is coming from, where he's getting all these goddamn title shots from. What, he hasn't done shit. He didn't do shit except beat Gomi, and he automatically, not even in the UFC, and he automatically got a title shot. He didn't do shit. He lost, and he got a title shot against Matt Hughes again, and then he beats Jens Pulver, who had already gotten knocked out quicker and more devastatingly by Joe Lauzon, and he's getting a title shot. It's like, well, if beating Jens Pulver guarantees you a title shot, then Joe Lauzon should have a title shot. See, this is the favoritism I'm saying. Which I'm not saying that BJ Penn didn't deserve the title shot. I think he should have fought at least one more time before he got it. Fight, put him up against Huerta because I want to see him destroy Huerta. I think he'd be great against Huerta because I want to see Huerta get his face smashed in. But the UFC does this to guys. They have their little poster boys and they just hand them title shots. Forrest Griffin's the same way. What the fuck has Forrest Griffin done aside beat Shogun to get a title shot? Keith Jardine beat Chuck Liddell, someone that's with a way better established UFC record. I mean, I don't get it. Lyoto hasn't lost a fight yet. Forrest lost 2 fights within the last within like 3 fights. He lost against Tito, then he beat Stefan, and then he fought Jardine and he lost to Jardine. So I don't get it. I really don't. And then he did a great showing last night. He made Joe Stevenson look ridiculously bad. He destroyed him badly. Like